Hello, farmers, and welcome to another episode of The Harvest Season. My name is Al,
And my name is Jonnie.
and we're here today to talk about Cottagecore games.
Woo!
Before we get into it, transcripts are available for the podcast in the show notes on the website. Hi, Jonnie. How you doing?
Good. I'm feeling excited about today's episode.
Nice. Yes, today we're going to chat about what Cottagecore games we are looking forward to most this year. And I guess we'll try and keep the list not too long, because I wrote down 3, and then Jonnie wrote down 5. And looking at Jonnie's 5, of course, I noticed at least one that I forgot about. So
yeah. That's maybe part of the reason I put it on my list.
Yeah, I don't. Is it not in the list of release games, or did I just not put a date on it?
I don't think you've put. Oh, maybe it's there without a date. Anyway, we'll get to that. I also have some like games that didn't quite make my list. So
yeah. Okay. Well, let's do some news first, because we do have a few bits of news. Just to point out, we are recording this 2 weeks before release. Because neither of us wanted to record on the last weekend of the year. So, we are. This might be a little bit out of date, and if we've missed anything, then it'll be in hopefully next week's episode. So yeah, awesome. But before the news, Jonnie, what have you been up to?
What have I been up to? I have been up to Coral Island. It's great, but doesn't run great on the Xbox Series S, and it crashes a lot. And I kind of got a bit annoyed. Just too many days where it crashes kind of at the end of the day, and you lose progress, and it's just very frustrating. So I have put it back down.
That's disappointing.
But that game's still really great. I think if you're playing it on literally anything else, it runs fine. I think they're just having problems with the Series S.
They don't seem to be the best at having optimized it yet, because like on the Steam Deck where I've been playing it, it runs really well, but it runs really hot, and I get maybe like 3 hours of battery out of the Steam Deck, which is not a lot. So maybe not even that much. Maybe it's like 2 hours or something like that. It's certainly not a huge amount of time. So I think it's just really badly optimized just now, and hopefully they can work at that and get it working better. My hope is that as they get it working on the Switch, which is what they're currently working on, that they figure out better ways to optimize things, and once it's actually working on the Switch, they've passed those optimizations onto other things, and it works better on the Series S as well, hopefully.
Yeah, I have to say, given the current running, I cannot imagine this game running at all on a Switch in its current state.
Yeah. Which is not great. So hopefully they fix that rather than just release a terrible port on Switch. I guess we'll find out sometime this year.
Yeah. And so since I put that down, the game I decided to pick up is Palia, which came out on Switch last week, I think. Last week as we're recording this, middle of December, I guess. Based on
14th of December, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm having a really good time with it so far. It's
interesting. It's an MMO, right?
Yeah, I don't really understand what the MMO aspects of the game are yet.
Okay.
But it feels very like, I don't know if you ever played World of Warcraft back in the day.
Like very, very small amounts.
Well, so the starting in many ways to me feels fairly similar to starting World of Warcraft. Like there's definitely a visual similarity. And it's just one of those things where you see other players running around in the world probably doing the same things you're doing, but you don't really have any reason to interact with them at this point. So I'm curious to see what that is.
And is the gameplay loop like standard farming game, or?
No, it seems I guess a little bit more adventure based. So the days run, I think every 12 hours equates to kind of like half hour of real time, and they're kind of constantly running, and it seems more designed by, you have your home, which is an instance area, so that's unique to you, and you spend a bit of time there where you've got your farm, you build your house, a whole bunch of stuff there, and then you go out into the world to do quests, and in addition to your usual sort of farming game or cottagecore bevy of skills, they have hunting, And I because I don't think there's combat outside of hunting, so I feel like that's maybe one of the things that you're maybe more likely to do with other players. Maybe there's bigger creatures that you go and hunt or something like that.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, it's the gameplay loop seems to be more designed around do some stuff at your house, go out, explore the world for a bit, come back, progress things at your house because plants growing is tied to real world time.
Okay. Interesting. So I like that when you said that your home area is unique to you, so nobody else can go there, which means that you don't have to worry about like people destroying things and stuff.
Correct.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm unsure if I want to try it. Like, I just MMOs have never really appealed to me, but it's an interesting idea.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how that finds its way into the game because at the moment it doesn't feel particularly obvious. Oh, the other really cool thing that I like so far about Palia is you have a lot of control over where you can put stuff. So it is
Okay.
not grid locked. Or I mean, technically there is a grid, but the squares are way smaller than the items. So it's not like you're putting
Right.
a thing
Yep.
on a square, if that makes sense.
Yep. Okay. I can see how that would appeal to you. However, for me, that just goes everything is going to look terrible because I can't line them up properly.
Oh no, you can line it up. They have really good tools to make sure you can line stuff up properly. So
Okay.
they have thought through that. So I think you'd be okay with it.
Interesting.
So anyway, yeah, Palia, like having a lot of fun. I look forward to sort of sharing more thoughts as I get deeper into it.
Yeah.
But what have you been
We'll
up
sign
to?
you up. We'll sign you up for that episode then.
Yeah, definitely.
I have basically just been playing Pokemon. So as is standard for me, when I get into a game, I get into a game, and yeah, I've been finishing up all the DLC stuff for Pokemon. I have basically done everything on one of the games, so I just need to go and do it through in the other game and get the exclusives. And then I'll have all that done, and I'm just trying to not spend my entire time shiny hunting, which is always a problem I have, right? Like, I could spend forever shiny hunting, but I mean only for a limited amount of time because I'm now at what's my number? I'm now at almost. I'm only a couple away from 900 unique shinies, so I've got 200 left to go. Hopefully, when I get to that point, I can then stop until the next game. But who knows? I can't be trusted.
I agree. We cannot trust you. So
So yeah, I mean, I still really like these games. I mean, overall, I think I'm more kind of disappointed in some of the performance aspects of things rather than that ruining it for me. It's just a bit annoying because I think, like, how good could these games be if they actually ran well?
answer not very.
But anyway, I've been enjoying that. So that's basically all I've been playing. And considering they just announced the epilogue for January, I'm sure I'll be playing it in January as well.
Oh, so there's more to come.
Yep, there's an extra little epilogue that's an extra story that they haven't talked publicly about what the story's about, but there is actually story to it, and that's tied to a new mythical Pokemon which they're releasing in January, and you'll get the epilogue and mythical Pokemon at the same time. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Nice.
So that's my deadline for finishing what I'm finishing. Although I'll be finished, I think, probably today as we're recording. I'll be finished on one game. I need to go play the other game because there's not a huge amount of exclusives in this DLC, which is nice. There's like 6 in total, but 2 of them are at the after the story. So I need to go do the after the story part first before I can get those 2. But it's fine. It's not very long and complicated. So anyway. Should we talk about some news?
Okay, just this once.
So, one for you, Jonnie. Terra Nil is now out on Switch.
Woo.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I actually think so I think Kev and I did the episode for this one. I think Switch seems like a better platform for it. Just I don't know, I didn't love the controls on mobile. I didn't finish it, and this kind of makes me interested to jump back in, particularly because I'm going away to a place with dodgy internet for a few days. So I feel like I might download Terra Nil on the Switch. It might be a good one to play over Christmas break with family and friends because it's, turn based, or like you've got time to think about what actions you want to take. You can just pause time and things like that. I feel like this might be a good game to pick up. And by the time you're listening to this, I guess the holidays are done. But that's probably what I'll be doing.
Cool. Yeah, I will probably play it at some point now because it is on Steam, so I could have played it on the Steam Deck. But my assumption was it wasn't going to work hugely well with controllers, which is probably a bit unfair because it's standard now for Steam games to work well with controllers. But now that it's on Switch, it definitely will have to. So I'll have a look into that at some point. Traveler's Rest have a new Christmas event, which is out now.
Great.
It's mostly just festive based stuff, and we know Jonnie doesn't like talking about festive based events anymore. So,
nope. Partly I had one, and I was just like, "Ugh, can we not? Can we not?"
Sprout Valley also have a winter holidays update, which does have some festive based stuff, but also brings in some really fundamental changes. Like this is not. I don't know why they've called this the winter holidays update. This is like a 2.0 with some pretty fundamental changes, and it also happens to include an event that makes it snowy on the ground, right? So First of all, like this is huge. You can now terraform. This was one of the things I really wanted in this game because I found it really frustrating how little land you had and how it felt like you should be able to like expand onto other islands and stuff like that. And now you can just craft land tiles and just put them on the ground, and you can craft water tiles and you can put them on the ground. So you can terraform your island as you see fit.
Yeah, I feel like
pretty huge.
Calling this update Winter Holidays when you're including terraforming is it's just bad marketing.
Yeah, it really is.
This should have been called the terraforming update because that is huge for a game like this.
Yeah, or call it the 2.0 or something, like make it clear that this is quite a big update. Because they also have you can now grow your own trees and bushes. So previously, if you like cut all them down, you wouldn't have any. So now you can add more, and you've also increased not doubled, it's more than doubled, increased the inventory space to 16 and the chest space to 32. I still think it's a little bit weird how restrictive it is, but that is much less restrictive than it was. I think it was like 6 and 10 or something like that, so it's quite a big jump. There is a but here in that it only works on new saves. However, as I mentioned in the episode where I talked about this, the game is very clearly designed to be like, play a save for a while and then build up a new save. Like, it's really very definitely designed to have like lots of saves that you play for a little time. It's not like a play this game in this save for 100 hours like Stardew or Coral Island.
Yeah. That's good to hear. I just for 2024, the one thing I want is, can we just get rid of inventory space being a thing in these games?
Yeah,
like it doesn't add anything. Fae Farm wins the 2023 award for best inventory management because they have the one infinite size chest, which is great. But I'm so sick of inventory management. Can we not?
Yeah, I think Coral Island has made some movement in a positive direction on that, where you can throw anything in any chest and then you can craft anything from anywhere using your chest. So that, much like Fae Farm, is good. But they still have like a very limited what you can carry around with you at one point. So it's like, yeah, sure, you can craft anything you want, but if your inventory is full, tough, you need to go back and throw something, or you need to delete something, right? And that's just really frustrating. And I feel like it only exists so that you can upgrade your bag, which is like, okay, sure, fine. If you're going to do that, make the final upgrade an infinite upgrade, right? Because it's like, oh yeah, you can upgrade it, but then you can only upgrade it to 4 times its original size.
Well, even like, because even upgrading it doesn't do anything. Like, it's not tied to anything else in the game. It feels like one of those, things that is a legacy. Probably, like, inventory space was probably originally added to these games because games couldn't handle you having large inventories of stuff, right? If you go back to, like, original Harvest Moon or whatever. Like, it was probably difficult. And now people think of it as this feature that a game has to have instead of an annoying, frustrating mechanic that adds nothing of value to these games.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. It definitely feels like something that came from games that had very limited like memory and storage space, and therefore we can only give you this much. Like if back to like the original Harvest Moon episode that we had, where it's like you literally have two spaces in your inventory, and it's for your tools, and everything else doesn't exist in your inventory. Like that, because everything else was basically just a counter of how much you have of each thing. Well, like, that doesn't really exist anymore. And it feels like it's like with games with lives, right? That's a holdover as well. And so many of them, like Sonic and Mario, have started kind of moving away from that. So Sonic, I don't think, has lives anymore in the newest game. And Mario doesn't in some of its games and does in some of its games, which is just a bit of a weird kind of like it's half moved away from it. I think the 3D ones don't tend to have life. I don't think Odyssey had lives.
It did not.
But the but Mario Wonder does have lives, but you can also get basically infinite number if you play the game as it is, right? Like it's such a weird thing where like lives kind of exists in games still, but it's like, why does this still exist even though it was a clear holdover from arcade games and only existed to get you to pay more money?
Exactly.
So yeah, I agree. Inventory space, make it infinite. We don't care anymore. They're especially with these games have so many different things you can upgrade, right? If you couldn't upgrade your bag in Stardew or in Coral Island, no one would be like, "Oh, there's nothing to upgrade." Of course there is.
Right? There's so much to
And
do.
if you think you need more, you just have to think of one other thing to make it the same amount as it would have been, right? Like it's just such a whatever. Anyway, yes, great. Have I missed anything else on this? Oh yeah, they've got more translations coming to Sprite Valley soon. So that's good. What have we got? Polish, Portuguese, French, Spanish, German, Bulgarian, and Korean. That's an interesting list. I wonder if that's just people that they knew.
Sometimes
like, it's funny
it can be hard to get access to, people that can do a good job translating.
Yes.
Like, I think that is one of those things that is an underrated skill. It requires more than just knowing the language. It is a real skill.
Because like obviously Spanish and Portuguese and French make perfect sense, and then you got German and Polish, which are like, okay, fine, kind of still quite fundamental European ones, and then you've got Korean. and that's the only non-European one. Now, obviously, Spanish and Portuguese and French do cover larger areas than just in Europe because colonialism, but they're still like based from Europe. It's just really funny that the only kind of Asian one they have is Korean, which, I mean, I'm not saying, oh, they should definitely have more. I'm just saying it's just
you're saying they shouldn't have Korean, right, Al? That's
exactly what I'm saying. How dare they? How dare they? No, it's just funny list.
Speaking of translations,
Lens Island. Yep, their companions and languages update, which I feel like we're missing some information about this.
Me too.
But I couldn't find anything. I didn't actually look directly on Steam. Let me check Steam, see if there's anything. But nope, there's nothing more about this. Literally all we have is a tweet which says the Companions and Languages update launches this Friday, which is basically today as we're recording. So soon. Actually, it should already be out based on what they said. They said it was coming. They said 2 days ago, they said it's coming out in 12 p.m. AEST tomorrow. So it should be out. Like, that's now. That was only a few hours ago, wasn't it, for you? AEST.
Yeah, that was many hours ago.
Yeah, so it should be out. But they've not posted about it being out.
Well, by the time this episode comes out, it will definitely be all resolved, so...
Yeah. All we know about is that they're adding languages, and presumably there's going to be something about your companions in the game, but they haven't said what. So they've said they're adding Spanish, Thai, German, and Chinese. Simplified Chinese. That is one of the languages I never quite sure, because like the language situation in China is very complicated because you've got Mandarin and Cantonese, and those are separate from simplified and traditional, which I believe both Mandarin and Cantonese can be either simplified or traditional. So when they say simplified Chinese, I don't know what they're talking about.
Me either. If you know, send us an email.
Because I believe the simplified and traditional is about the characters they use, but Cantonese and Mandarin are about how they use those characters. So both of them can be written in either way, which most people, I believe, use simplified. They don't use traditional anymore. But it's not saying whether it's Cantonese or Mandarin. So anyway, they say there's more languages coming soon. So that's good. We like accessibility for people in games, and that includes being able to read in your own language.
Yeah.
All right, that's all the news. Not a huge amount because, as I said, we're recording 2 weeks early. No, just a week early. We would be recording in about a week. If
we recorded like 3 days ago, and that's why there's not much news.
We recorded
and also,
3 days ago.
It's
what are you talking about?
I don't know. We recorded some number of days ago. Four.
There's still an episode to come out.
Yeah, time is weird right now when we're recording because also that's 2023 and this is coming out in 2024.
Yeah, it's a week and a half ago we recorded.
No, we recorded this Monday. Just gone.
No, we're recording right now, Jonnie.
Yeah, but
I see what you mean. I know what you mean. So, yeah, okay. I thought you were trying to do that thing where when this comes out, you're saying we recorded 4 days ago. Right. No, what you're saying is we actually recorded 4 days ago, and that's why there's no news because we get it all in the last episode.
Correct.
I understand.
Correct.
I understand. We're going to talk about what we're excited about coming out this year.
Yeah, because 2023 was a dumpster fire, so we're throwing it in the bin, and we're talking about what we're excited for in 2024.
There's a lot of games. I'm not going to do the thing that I did for the Game of the Year episode where I just list out everything that's on the list because that would just be insane.
Also, half of it might not come out, so...
half of it probably won't come out. We currently still have 12 games that are currently still scheduled to release in 2023. And I don't think they're going to release in 2023, but they haven't officially said they're not going to. So at some point over the next week, I will just be changing all those to 2024 and assuming that they're going to pretend that they're going to release next year instead.
I think they need to go to TBA.
Probably. We do have a lot of TBAs as well, and maybe some of them will release this year. Who knows? Oh, I forgot. We still have a new Story of Seasons. We have 2 new Story of Seasons and 2 new Rune Factories that have been announced. Wonder if any of them will announce next year. Let's talk about what we actually know that they think. I say no, that's coming out next year. Actually, we don't know this at all because remember, Snacko was Mineko was. And Snacko, I think, have both been most anticipated multiple times. So who knows whether any of these will actually come out, but we'll see. So there's lots of exciting. So Jonnie, do you want to give us one to start with?
Yeah, I'm going to start with my most excited game for 2024, which is Tales of the Shire.
Yeah, and I forgot about this game. Apparently, I missed it in the list. It is in the list. I can see it in the list. It says 2024, but apparently I completely forgot it. How did I forget about this? I have no idea. We're going to have to do this episode together, I think, Jonnie.
I think so.
I'm sorry. I know other people will be excited about it, but sorry, I'm bagging it right now.
Yeah, look, and if I'm not on it as a Kiwi, like Lord of the Rings is basically our country, and I may know people that are working on this game and have not been able to talk about it for the last, however many years they've been working on it. But I am very excited to get my hands on Tales of the Shire. I think in particular, given how good Disney Dreamlight Valley was, not that I expect this to be similar, but it's raised my bar for a cottagecore game based on a well-known IP.
Yeah, I think I hope it's not like Disney Dreamlight Valley. I hope it's different, because as much as I like Dreamlight Valley, I don't want that, but with hobbits, right? I want it to be different. I think I agree with you. I think Disney have shown that you can do good tie-in games in cottagecore genre. Obviously, we've seen that with other games, right? Like the Spider-Man games are incredible. They're not just they've not just phoned it in with that. But a lot of tie-in games with existing IP are pretty dreadful. And have been for decades, right? Like it was the standard thing that you make a film and then you make a terrible game about it, and people would buy that game because it tied into your game. And so many of them are terrible. Like I played one of the more recent Transformers ones, and it was dreadful still. Like, they're still making them, still making absolutely terrible ones. And then you have like the really big ones that were also still terrible, like the Avengers game and stuff like that. Apparently, they're still doing that. So I think Disney and I guess Sony with the Spider-Man games have proven that you can make really good tie-in games. And I hope this is also really good. And if it's not, I'll be really disappointed.
Me too. I think that for me the biggest difference is that Disney has such a vast array of characters to pull from, and Lord of the Rings, like the characters aren't the appeal; it's the setting. So I think it's going to be really interesting how much the world feels like you're in the Shire, right? That's probably going to be the thing for this game.
Absolutely. However, if Gandalf and Tom Bombadil don't come visiting, I'll be disappointed.
Oh, totally, right? Like you still want that you want Gandalf, you want, some of those big characters. But it's not, you don't want to be interacting with them. Like, you kind of want your own adventure in that world where they are.
Yeah, you don't want that to be everything. You want the cameos to be there, but you don't want it to be everything in this. But we need the deep cuts as well. We need the Tom Bombadils. We need the, I can't think of any others off the top of my head.
I want Ents, right? We want Ents.
Yeah. yeah, definitely. In fact, I want to build a treehouse on an Ent.
Yes,
that's what I want.
I'm right there with you. I think that would be great. Like Radagast the Brown. Like all of those sorts of characters are the ones I want to see. Like, I don't really want to be talking to Aragorn in this game. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
that would be.
I want all the ones that I care about, and I also want ones that I have to Google that they're so obscure.
Yes, exactly. But we don't know much else about. Oh, sorry, you go.
I was just going to say, you don't have the limited amount of time of a film, right? So you can add everything in. You don't have to cut stuff. You don't have to cut. You can add all the characters in.
Absolutely. And it doesn't need to make sense, right? Like,
no.
This is not the sort of game where you need to pick a time in the canon and have all of those characters show up and it be canonically. Like, no one cares. A lot of people care. And those people will be mad anyway, because nothing will be perfect. So
they'll be mad, but they'll also already buy the game, right? So, like, you've already got their money. You've already got their anger. So you may as well just continue to make them angry and just not care. I agree. Don't care about when it is. Don't care about where. Like, bring back dead characters, right? We don't care, right? Just set it in a nebulous time. Everybody's alive. What a surprise.
Yep, that sounds amazing.
Although I wonder whether. So here's an interesting thing. I wonder if Bilbo is there, are you having to go to the, like, can you go visit the, I can't remember what they call the afterlife world that he goes to. I can't remember what that's called. I'd love to be able to go visit that and then come back. I know it makes no sense whatsoever, right? Because the whole point is it's a one-way journey, right? But I still want to be able to go there and see Bilbo there. That would be fun.
I mean, I don't know, because we've never really seen that I feel like that would be a great setting for a farming game.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it. But actually, if they do want to put it at a time frame, I wonder if the time frame between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, like the main series, would be a good time, because you would have an overlap of a lot of the characters. Like, all of the big characters would be alive. You would have good timing from who's there, and they would just be in their sort of like more beginner forms, right? Which would be fine.
So I guess if you were going to do that, it would need to be reasonably early, because obviously that time period is known for starting to see evil come back into the world, and you don't want that in a Cottagecore game, probably.
You could have elements of it, though. Like, there could be that, part of your motivation could be, keeping the Shire pure, or a word that's kind of less cringy than pure.
Maybe. I just feel like if you're in that time period, you've got the kind of sword of Damocles holding over your head, like, that an all-out war is coming, and that doesn't really set like a peaceful game. Like, oh, I know lots of people are about to die. It doesn't really make you think about peacefulness.
I mean, I don't know if you know Middle Earth lore that well, but there's not a lot of times of great peacefulness.
No, I know, but yeah. Anyway. That's why I was like, I was agreeing with, like, you just don't set it in a time, just because then you don't have to care about these things. You don't have to care about the fact that there's a war, or there's just been a war, or whatever. No, just put it at some nondescript time with everybody there, and we're all happy. But anyway, we'll find out. I agree. I'm excited. Looking forward to this game.
I love how for a game that all we have is like a 30-second trailer that basically says it's coming.
Yeah. There's there's literally nothing about it.
Right. What's your game now? Number one.
So I have Snacko on my list again, and I know it's in early access, but one, I haven't played it since it's come into early access because I've been too busy, so I'm looking forward to playing it. And two, obviously, the 1.0 version is meant to come out this year, so I'm looking forward to that as well. So it released so late this year that I was just ignored it. It's not a 2023 game; it's a 2024 game, right? And its entire life cycle is going to be in 2024. That's unless they obviously delay the 1.0 to 2025. Like, I'm just going to consider it as 2024 game. Like, sure, technically it'll be like, oh yeah, but the early access came out in 2023. Yeah, sure, if you say so. It will feel like a 2024 game to me. Much like how Coral Island released at the end of 2021. No, 2022. But like, I played it a little bit then, but realistically, it was a 2022 game. No, 2023. Yeah. Oh, my word! Years. No, realistically, it was a 2023 game. And that's when it got the big press, and that's when I put more hours into it then than I did the previous time, blah, 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 blah. So Snacko is going to be a 2024 game, and I'm looking forward to it, and finally going to play it at some point.
I'm also looking forward to Snacko finally coming out into 1.0, so we can finally stop talking about it in these upcoming game of the year episodes. But honestly, my confidence isn't that high. We might still be talking about this next year, so I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. It was nearly 4 years ago that we interviewed the Snacko devs, so that's a timeline.
Yep. Honestly, I think one of my concerns the wrong word, but I think one of the challenges is the development cycle for this game has been so long, and it's been publicly known for so long. I just worry how much the world has changed since then, and how well the game is going to, exist in 2024 gaming circles.
I think that's a fair concern, but I think that it's not like Cottagecore has become less popular in that time. And
no, it's become more popular, so there's just more competition, right? And there's more...
There's more competition, but I also think there's more people willing to try different games, and I think good ones stand out. And I think that Snacko is different enough that it won't just be seen as, oh, it's just because I think Coral Island's big issue is people look at it and go, oh, it's just Stardew, but on an island, right? And it's like, that's fair, but it's also more than that. But because of first impressions, people aren't really willing to give it that time. And you had the same feeling about it until you started playing it, and you're like, oh, this is really good.
Yes,
and I suspect Snacko won't have that issue because it looks very different and it's marketing itself very different. And I think also people like playing as cats.
That is true. So it'll probably be fine. I guess I just more hope that it's actually a good game when it comes out, and that people don't get interested and they play it and they're disappointed.
That's also true. But I have played the game like 3-4 years ago, and I liked it back then. So I'm hoping it's just that, but better. So anyway, Snacko, what's your next one?
Next one I want to talk about is Rusty's Retirement. So Cody and I talked about this one a few weeks ago. It's the idle farming game that just sits at the bottom of your screen and takes over your life. Or that's my assumption. I don't know that I have a huge amount more to say about this beyond what we said a few weeks ago. It's just that the idea of an idle farming cottagecore game seems really smart / evil.
They go well together as an idea, and part of the problem with idle games is that you have to keep going back to them and you keep forgetting about them. Well, certainly I do. Whereas obviously the clever thing about this is that you don't forget about it because you don't have to go into it because it's just always there.
Yeah. So I am excited / nervous for this one when it comes out. But I think it's just a cool idea, right? Like the idea of a game that doesn't take up the full screen and is kind of just sitting there. And I hope it's, like an actual idle game. Some idle games tend a little bit too much into clickers, that
Yeah.
need to be interacted with a lot. And I'm hoping this tends more towards idle game than a clicker.
Yes, I think it depends on how long it takes for crops to grow. Because
Yes.
if crops grow in 5 minutes, you're gonna get bored of doing stuff all the time. Whereas if they grow over the course of a day or something, probably you're going to be much more, I think, likely to go, yeah, I'll play it for a little bit a day, and then maybe later in that day you'll try and do something else as well. But you won't feel like you have to do stuff all the time.
Yeah, and you just watch the crops grow over the course of the day. I will say that they have announced that there is going to be a focus mode that slows down the pace that the crops grow. So, it's at least something that they're thinking about.
Yeah, I just feel like with that, I don't know what I don't know if I would ever want to do that. Like
Focus.
it just feels like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna deliberately slow down my gameplay. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, our brains are not wired that way at all. But having the option is one of those things that makes us way more likely to, give it a go, right? Because we know that we can, even if we know that we never will.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, I'm intrigued to see what it's like. But I think I probably need to not install it. But we'll see. I certainly, I work on a client machine, so I certainly can't install it on my work machine.
I think you mean you shouldn't. I believe that you can.
No, I'm pretty sure they are. They definitely. I know people who have installed things and they've got a message from IT saying uninstall that, please. It has happened before. Anyway,
yes. Right, next game.
so I think this is on your list as well. But Mika and the Witch's Mountain, I'm very excited for. I feel like this game has been coming out for quite a while. Chibi announced like a whole bunch of games all at the same time, and one of them has come out. So I'm looking forward to this one. I think it looks fun. I like flying games when the controls are good, and I think that one of the things that Chibi do well is controls. Their 3D platformer that came out this year was particularly nice to control, so hopefully that continues with this game as well. And flying is fun, right?
Flying is fun, and this game just looks really cute. This probably would have been number one for me in a year that Lord of the Rings didn't have a game coming out, and even then I think it was still close. I'm probably just a little bit hesitant because it was supposed to come out in September of 2023, and I feel like it's gone a little silent on when it's meant to be coming out. I don't think we have a confirmed date for it yet, just early in 2024.
Yeah, I think, did they say first half, I think?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what they said, but I want to be more excited about this. I just feel like until we get that date, it's the sort of delay that makes me nervous because it's the what's gone wrong to the level that they don't know how to fix it, that they're not willing to commit to a date.
I think it's more just like they're doing the sensible thing of not saying the new date, even though they have one internally, because then they don't have, like, if they find a bug last minute, they can delay it by another month and not have that negative press. Like, I think that's the way that people should do things. Like, sure, say vaguely when you're going to announce, right? Don't say we have literally no idea when this is coming out. Say, we'll hope to release in 2024, right? Fine, great, but don't give us an exact date. That's stupid.
Yeah, I hope that's what it is, and I think I just need to channel a little bit of my inner Kev here and just make some super excited. Like that's like I just as soon as we started talking about it, I think I heard Kev just like scream in excitement.
Well, and I think that they have proven they can get games out and they can do it well. And like Summer in Mara came out when it was meant to, and it was a Kickstarter, right? So like that was never delayed, I don't think, at all. So I think they've proven they can deliver games. They can deliver games that are fun to play, and they have done multiple of them. Right? They've now done 4 games, so I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
It-
I think the other thing I'm excited about for Mika is I feel like it's one of the games that's really starting to push into not farming being the core of the game. You know, this being about
yeah,
you're a postal person. That I think is also that's one of the things that is most appealing about this game for me is just pushing into those other cozy spaces and not being all about the farming.
yeah, I agree. We can do cottagecore without it just being farming, which is good. What's your next one?
My next one is one we talked about a few days ago from our time, many weeks ago in Listenerland, Tamagotchi Adventure Kingdom. That 30-second trailer that we've watched like 20 times. I'm still really excited about it for all the reasons I was really excited about it last week. It just looks dumb and stupid and fun. And as much as I hate Apple Arcade, I don't care. I'm going to get Apple Arcade and I'm going to play the hell out of some Tamagotchi Adventure Kingdom.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by this game, and I will probably play it, and I'll probably get Apple Arcade again to get it. It's next month, isn't it? Oh, it'll be out by the time this episode comes out, won't it? It was like the
Oh my
4th of
god,
Jan.
go play Tamagotchi Adventure Kingdom. Do that.
1, 2, 3. No, it'll be out. It'll be coming out tomorrow when this episode comes out. It'll be coming out tomorrow. Yeah, I will probably play it. I'm not as excited as you are. I'm intrigued to see what they've done with it and see whether it's just Hello Kitty Island Adventure with different characters. But I guess we'll see.
We will see. I have watched the video of that stupid guy smashing his face into the rock like way more times than I care to admit.
I think that's probably the thing that gives me most hope about it is that makes it feel like it has character. And so hopefully that means there's more. But I just feel like the trailer, other than that point, just feels incredibly generic.
Yeah, and it probably will be, and we will love it.
Well, let's see. I have no idea if this will be in anybody's Game of the Year list next year or not, but I didn't think Hello Kitty would be either. Okay, my last one is Go Go Town. I cannot explain how excited I am for this game. It's just so ridiculous. I love how they are both trying to do something just incredibly fun and stupid, but also building in new ideas and mechanics for things like no game has a chainsaw yet, right? And this game has a chainsaw to cut down trees. And I love that idea of not having to use an axe, or I don't know whether you upgrade from an axe to a chainsaw at some point. That would make sense. But like, yeah, I love that, and the movement looks so much fun. You can, there's like a unicorn trike that you can go on that looks really fast and fun, and everything about this game screams just do what you want and do it fast, right? And but not in a like stressful way, in a this is just how you move kind of way, which these games are always slower than I want them to be.
Yeah, this game looks awesome. This is the this is the one that I forgot from my list, and until I saw it on yours, and when I watched the trailer, I was like, I forgot that this game existed, and I'm so excited to be reminded of it. And to me, it kind of looks like someone looked at the terraforming sort of aspect from Animal Crossing and just said, how do we make this absurd and insane amounts of fun, and just make that the game? And it looks stupid fun. Distinct visual style as well. I think like it's. Yeah. I don't quite know how to describe it, but it's very distinct from everything else that we have in the genre at the moment, which I really like.
Yeah, it's quite cartoony. That's the only word I have for it just now.
Yeah, I would say anime inspired, right? Or cartoon inspired.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm super excited. I just love how they're not just kind of doing the same thing. They've got loads of interesting ideas into it. And it's not like a static time. It's not like a static town like so many of these games are. There are, as you say, there's terraforming, but you just even just the idea of being able to expand your town is different than most cottagecore games, right? Which is it's fine because like a lot of times it's like, oh, you're moving to a village and you don't want to change, you want to fit into the village, and like that makes sense, right? But also sometimes you just want something to grow with you as well, right? Like there's a balance to be had there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's one of the, to go back to Animal Crossing, it's one of the fun things about that game, right? Is as you progress through it, the town builds up kind of as much
Exactly.
as you want it to, which is fun, and I think this is going to push that to an even stronger level. Do we have a release date for this?
We do not. I am actually even just assuming that it's coming out next year. They haven't said it's coming out next year. They just say to be announced. But based on how they've been doing their playtests and stuff like that, I just have a feeling.
That's why I missed it from the list. Okay, great.
So we
I
will.
thought I was
We
losing
will
my
see.
mind, but I am excited.
Yeah, there's lots of other like I'm just looking at some of the stuff they said. Like they've got a thing that allows you to just skip some of the day if you're bored of it. Right? Oh, I can't be bothered waiting for things to happen. Let me just skip a few hours, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I'm excited. What's your last one?
My last one is. Oh, I don't know how to say the good name of this game out loud without like
It's Horticular, I think.
yeah, that sounds so articulate. It just sounds not well thought through. I'll say that much.
What a name being not ideal. That's
Right,
never happened before, Johnny. We've
but
never complained about names before.
I feel like this falls into a new category of games you should have said out loud once and then be like, maybe not that one. Maybe let's pick something different. Anyway, Horticular. This game intrigues me in that it's described as a farm base building game, and I don't know that I have fully grokked what it is that you're trying to do, other than build out like a cool looking garden and grow stuff. And I think that there's something like yeah, a garden base builder is enough words that interest me. I like the visual style of what's happening here. I don't really understand what all of that means together, but I feel like if it's pushing into that sort of puzzle-ish kind of RTS without really being RTS is interesting to me.
Yeah, I don't think I have a huge amount to say about this game. I'm not particularly excited about it. I guess I would say, yeah, sure, I understand the interest in it. Like I'm interested in it. But there's nothing that really grabs me as like, oh, I must play this. I like the kind of the animal aspect of it. Like it's one of the more kind of environmentally conscious ones, which we always like talking about those. But yeah, there's nothing that grabs me and makes me go, I must play this game.
Yeah, I think for me this kind of feels like I feel like last year, I talked about Above Snakes as something that looked like it was trying to do something interesting, and ultimately, I didn't end up playing Above Snakes in 2023.
Yeah.
What that came to be just wasn't quite enough, but it's something that I like to talk about in upcoming lists. What are the things that feel like they're trying something new? And yeah, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Horticular was not that great when it comes out, but I kind of just want to recognize it here because there's so much in the list that's like looks fine, but it also doesn't look particularly new or innovative, and that's what I felt about this one.
Yep, fair enough. So there are lots more games coming out, but those are the ones we particularly wanted to talk about. And as always, it will be fun to see whether any of these are on the list of Game of the Year next year.
Yeah, and just
I mean,
before,
we all know Snacko's going to be, but
we will see. We will see. I do have a few that are just like I'm just gonna sort of rapid fire a few through
go
a
for it.
few. So Meat Light. That game looks like it has potential, but might be in the I probably won't play category.
I still can't with its name.
Yeah, it's not a great name. Lightyear Frontier mix look cool, and farming. So that might be a thing in 2024. Cloa doesn't really give me cozy vibes, but it looks like a cool adventure game, and it's one of those games that I could very easily see at the end of the year being like just one of my favorite games of the year. And then lastly, Pixel Shire looks kind of cool and interesting. So those are kind of my honorable mentions for ones I'm excited about, but don't have a huge amount to say about.
Yeah, and I mean, I could probably list games all day, right? Because Petadachi, I feel like, has disappeared from existence, but might release next year, and I'm still super excited about that game if it ever comes. Ever After Falls was meant to be this year, probably next year as well. I kickstarted that game, and I'm very excited for that one. What else is there? There's so many. We've got quite a few early access to 1.0 that will probably come out this year, like One Lonely Outpost, and there was another one I saw that I've lost now. Oh, and Arklands. Yes, Arklands as well. I'm excited about. There's just so many games that I'm super excited to play this year. So hopefully I'll be able to get through most of them. Have I lost you?
You have not. Sorry.
Okay. I was expecting at least that. Yes.
Hell yeah. So many games. It's going to be it's going to be a big year for the show in 2024. You know, we've just got a ton to cover. And I think what's maybe most interesting about this year is it's not really obvious what we're going to be covering when, because it still feels like there is a haze over exactly what is going to be coming out when.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you, Jonnie, for coming to join me for this episode to talk about the games that we're looking forward to this year.
Thank you, Al. Honestly, this is one of my favorite episodes to do because in preparation, you just get to watch a bunch of trailers of games that are coming out and be reminded of some things that you forgot about entirely and get really excited for them again, and then watch a trailer and think, did I watch this trailer last year? And then look at the release date of that trailer and be like, yes, I did in fact watch that trailer last year, and nothing else has really moved. So, it's just the realities of developing games in the year 2024, I guess.
Yep, and there are so many Cottagecore games that if one gets delayed, it doesn't really matter, you know. And just before anybody asks, no, I don't think Cottagecore is coming out next year. I don't think I think it will come out 2025. But we'll see.
Oh, I want to take 2026 in this bit. I don't even think it's 2025.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, we'll see. I could see either 2025 or 2026, but I'm leaning towards later 2025. But we'll see. We do have Stardew update next year as well, 2024.
This year, as listeners.
This year. Yes, this year. I was doing so well. I hadn't mucked up like that.
It's all right.
Anyway,
it's only like stupid early in the morning for you, so you can be forgiven just this once.
It's not stupid early anymore. It would have been had I actually gotten up at the right time. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Where can people find you on the internet?
As always, if you want to interact, the best way to do that is patreon.com/thspod. If you sign up to the Patreon, you get access to the Slack where I and a bunch of others can be found hanging out. 2024 is, like I said, it's going to be a big year. There's lots of games coming out. If there's games that you want, covered or you want to talk about that you're playing, or if you've got questions, that's a great place to get involved and to just chat about all things Cottagecore.
Awesome. You can find me on mastodon.scott and on Twitter at thescottbot. You can find the podcast on Tumblr and Twitter at thspod. You can find links to everything related to the podcast and a feedback form on our website, harvestseason.club. One of those links is, as mentioned, the patreon.com/thspod, where you can support the podcast and get more episodes. We are going to come out with a Greenhouse episode very soon about the non-Cottagecore games that we're looking forward to this year. And we just released one about our non-farming game of the year. So there'll be lots more to come as well. Thank you, Jonnie, for joining me. Thank you, listeners, for listening. Until next time, have a good harvest. The Harvest Season is created by Al McKinley, with support from our patrons, including our pro farmers, Kevin, Stuart, and Elisa. Our art is done by Micah the Brave, and our music is done by Nick Burgess. Feel free to visit our website, harvestseason.club, for show notes and links to things we discussed in this episode.